You can hold on with your hands, the strap, the ring. Shoulders are shrugging down out of the ears. You're lengthening the back of the neck. Shoulders are sliding down towards the hips. Pull the belly in deeper. The lower leg is long and straight, but remember you could always keep that lower leg bent if you need to. Now drop the leg out to the side, but try to keep your hips facing the ceiling. Still breathing, breath up high in the rib cage. Pull in the ring a little harder if you can, or pulling that leg to a deeper stretch. And then you're going to bring the leg up and then cross over the center line, pulling the foot towards the shoulder. Shoulders are sliding down. Still lengthen the back of the neck. Pull it in a little deeper. And then bring the leg right back to center. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Pulling it in. Keep the lower leg long and straight. Your shoulders are sliding down, hollowing out the abdomen. Now keep your pelvis facing the ceiling as you drop the leg out to the side. Do one more deep breath up high in the rib cage, and then you're going to bring the leg back up to the ceiling, cross over the center line. Keep pulling the foot towards the shoulder. And then you can come right back to center. So go ahead and take the foot out of the ring. You're going to hold the ring with your hands. If you don't have the ring, you can use weights. You could squeeze your ball. You could just do reaching arms. So I want you just to hold the squeeze on that ring or ball, roll the shoulders down and back, and we're just going to move the shoulder blades together closer to your spine, and then pull them apart so they separate away from your spine. Pulling together and apart, squeezing that ring as tight as possible, pulling the belly in now, and focus on the breath up high in the rib cage. Think about pulling up on the pelvic floor, press the toes to the floor. Now pull the shoulder blades together, hold them together, continue to slide them down towards your hips. And now we have the flexion where you curl up, you look into the belly, and then rest head and shoulders back down. Exhale as you curl up, inhale, you rest. Keep pressing the toes to the floor, drawing the navel in. Do one more. And then when you rest down, you're gonna hold it. Keep your arms squeezing that ring or ball. This one, you can bring your hands by your side if you don't wanna keep them up at the ceiling. But we're gonna lift the hips up. So you come up into the bridge, take a deep breath, and then slowly roll back down until you rest. Take a deep breath in, exhale, lifting the hips. Still squeezing that ring or ball, long straight arms, rolling down. We'll do one more, lifting the hips. Hold for the deep breath at the top, and then slowly rolling back down into your rest. Bring the legs to tabletop, and we'll put the ring between the ankles, and we're gonna do our 100. So you're squeezing that ring or ball, curl up, lengthen legs straight, start pumping the arms. Inhaling for 5 counts, exhaling for 5. Squeezing, getting longer, straighter legs. Using the upper back to slide the shoulder blades down towards the hips. Trying to curl up a little bit higher. Try to get the legs a little bit lower. Longer arms. Remember, you can do this with head and shoulders down, and you can do tabletop legs too if you wanted to. Inhaling for the 5. Exhaling for the 5. This is our last 10 count. Now after you exhale, hold everything still, curl up higher, reach longer, and then you can rest back down. Put that ring or ball between your hands again, and your legs are straight down onto the floor. You can just do this with reaching arms or the weights in your hands. The weights in your hands will actually make it a little easier to get up. But you're gonna bring head and shoulders off the floor, come all the way up and stretch out over the straight leg. Stack your spine up to straight and then roll back down to the floor. Arms are to the ceiling, take a deep breath. Exhale as you curl up and stretching further forward, stacking back up and then rolling back down. Keep squeezing that ring as tight as possible. You have 2 more. Stacking up, rolling the shoulders down, drawing the navel in. This is your last one. Now, instead of going all the way down to the floor, just stack up and stay seated. Sitting as tall as possible. You're going to twist to one side, face center, twist to the other side. So if you don't have the ring or the ball, you can just do reaching arms and rotate, bring that arm back behind you as far as possible. Try to grow taller. Pull up on the pelvic floor, pull the belly in. One more twist on each side, make it a deeper twist. When you come back to center, we're gonna do our roll down back to the floor, but real slow. So all the way down, just really slow. Hollow out the abdomen, still breathing. And then when you're ready, you can go all the way down to rest down head and shoulders. So get rid of the ring or the ball if you have it. You're gonna kick one leg to the ceiling. Both legs are hopefully straight. But if you need to do a little bend in the lifted leg, it's okay if you have the tight hamstrings, and then the lower leg can be bent if you need help keeping your pelvis stable. But try to keep both legs straight as we start the circles. Inhale as you start, exhale as you finish. Point the feet, reach through the toes. Keep your hip bones facing the ceiling. Shoulders shrug down. Last two. After you bring that leg to the ceiling, pause with that leg lifted, flex both feet and go in the opposite direction. Inhale as you start, exhale as you finish. Keeping that lower leg still a working leg. And think about the lateral rib cage breathing. The breath is up high in the ribs while your abs are still tight and pulled in. Your last circle, and when you bring that leg to the ceiling, keep it straight and pull it in for a stretch. Now keep that same leg hugging in. We're going to bend it and bring it in towards your chest. Now we get to switch legs. So we'll do circles on the other leg. Hopefully that lower leg is straight as well on the side, and you're going to the full circle. Inhale as you start, exhale as you finish. No, they don't. And they seem so easy, but they're not easy. You really think about how tight and strong you have to keep your core. It's hard to stay stable and only move that hip. When you're ready, flex the foot and go in the opposite direction. Crossing over that center line as you pull up. Constantly working on trying to keep that circling leg straighter and longer. Hollowing out the abdomen, pressing the shoulders down. Focus on that breath. You have one more circle, and then pull that straight leg in, keeping the foot flexed. And then you'll bend the knee and hug the knee in. So we're going into the ab series here. So keep that same knee into your chest. You're going to curl up, look into the belly, elevate the other leg, and then you switch. Hollow out the abdomen. Remember, shoulders slide down. Try to stay curled up, looking into the belly. If you need to, you can rest down head and shoulders. Do one more on each side, and then bring the legs together, glue them together. Both legs go forward as arms reach back, and then come right back to center. Open up on the inhale, squeeze the center on the exhale. Try not to grip into your neck. Your shoulders are shrugging down out of the ears. Your last one, when you come back to center, we'll go into scissor kicks. So one leg lifts to the ceiling, one leg falls down, and then you switch. Now you can do this with the flexed feet to deepen the stretch. Try not to grip into the neck again, stay curled up. But if all you're getting is a lot of tension in the neck, you can do this with head and shoulders down. Bring both legs to the ceiling and then point the feet, and then you do get to rest your head and shoulders on the floor for this one. Really press the arms into the mat. Both legs are going to lower and lift. And as you're hinging through the hips, keep your pelvis stable so you're not moving the lumbar spine or the pelvis. If you need to, you could always put your hands on the hips to feel if your pelvis is moving. Pull the belly in deeper. Press the shoulders down. You do one more, and then bend the legs to tabletop. We're going to do our crisscross. So fingers are laced together, hands are behind your head, curl up, and then twist towards the bent leg, and then switch. Try and keep elbows wide. Try to curl up higher. Hollow out the abdomen. Really lengthen that leg out too, reaching out of the hip. We're going to try to work harder. Twist to one side and just hold that rotation. Longer leg, curl up higher, elbows wide. Go back to the other side. hold it, pull up a little bit higher, reach for a longer, straighter leg, and then you can come back to center. Rest your feet down to the floor. Lengthen those arms way back overhead and just stretch through your abdomen, lifting the rib cage. You can bring your hands back down by your side. So we're gonna do bridging. If you have a ball, put that ball between your knees, and you're gonna have parallel feet. Squeeze that ball as tight as possible, press the toes to the floor, hands are by your side, rock your pelvis back, and then peel your spine up and lift the hips. Hold the hips up high, pressing the toes to the floor. Now with that ball between your knees, you're gonna squeeze for little pulses. You could still activate those inner thighs if you don't have the ball. Just think about engaging them tighter, releasing, engaging them tighter and releasing. Try to get those hips higher, little pulses, squeezing the ball. Now hold the squeeze as tight as you can, pull up on the pelvic floor, press the arms down, and then slowly roll the spine right back down until you rest. So we're gonna do it again, but single leg. Extend one leg out to straight, still squeeze the ball, lift the hips up and hold it. Now pay attention to your pelvis so that your hip bones are level, and then do those same little pulses. Again, if you don't have that ball, it just looks like you're holding the position, but you're focusing on activating those inner thighs. Pulling up on the pelvic floor. Keep the legs straight, just roll the spine back down to the floor, and then we'll switch when your hips are down. So same thing on the other side. Leg extends, lift the hips, hold the hips up, and then little pulses. Keep the thighs parallel, keep your pelvis level, because the hip of that lifted straight leg is gonna wanna drop lower. Hold the squeeze, and then roll the spine back down until you rest. Okay, we're gonna move the ball to the ankles if you have it, otherwise just glue the legs together, and you're gonna bring both legs to the ceiling. So we're gonna do corkscrew on this one. Head and shoulders stay on the floor. Again, if you don't have the ball, just glue those legs together. Flexing the feet makes your quads work harder and gives you that deeper stretch, so if you can flex. You're gonna pick the hips up, a little hip lift, and then draw the legs down and around in a circle. To complete that circle, you come all the way back to center, pick the hips up, and draw your circle in the opposite direction, down and around. Think long, straight legs, hollow out the abdomen. Shoulders are shrugging down out of the ears. Pulling the belly in, squeezing that ball tighter, just squeezing those inner thighs together. Focus on the breath up high in the rib cage. This is your last set, so just do one more on each side, or at least even up your last set. And then when you come back to center, we're gonna hug your knees into your chest, and then we're gonna grab onto that ball as you come up to seated. Rock up to seated. Your feet are flat with the ball between your knees. Again, if you don't have the ball, just keep your legs together. We're gonna have arms straight out in front of you, shoulders roll down and back, press the feet to the floor, tuck your tailbone and fall back just halfway. And then come right back up to seated. Falling back, and then pulling back up. Good. Rolling the shoulders down and back, drawing the navel in. And we are gonna add a twist to it. So again, try to keep those legs squeezing together. Fall and twist to one side, you reach behind you, come back up, we'll go to the other side. Fall and twist. Hollowing out the abdomen. Try not to grip into your neck. Keep the legs in the same spot. And you do want to feel like you're trying to press your feet into the floor to make an imprint of your feet in the mat. Last one on each side. When you come back to center, you're going to hold it. So if you have the ball, take it behind your low back. If you don't have the ball, you're going to do another set of the half rollbacks that we did before with the legs together. If you do have the ball, the knees come all the way together and the ball is behind your low back, just underneath those bottom ribs. And you fall back to more of an extension, and then you pull right back up using your abs. Good. You want to pull up as high as you can without losing that ball, because if you come up too high, the ball will try to roll away from you. Falling back. Yep, mine got a little crooked on that one. Feel like I'm tipping off to the side. Falling back, reach, and then pulling back up. Glue the legs together, press the feet to the floor. Now we're just gonna do a nice relaxing one. Bring your hands behind your head and then fall back and stretch. Good. Let the elbows fall to the floor. When you come all the way back up, we'll stay up. We're gonna go into rolling like a ball. So if you like using the ball, you could put the ball between your knees, or you could just hold the legs together. Either one is fine. I know, decisions. Hands are on your shins, feet are off the floor. C-curve your spine with shoulders down. You're gonna roll back to the shoulders, come right back up to balance. Inhale as you go back, exhale up. Squeezing that ball as tight as possible. You're trying not to let the feet touch the floor. You have one more. Draw the navel in deeper. When you're up, you're gonna hold it and balance. So we're gonna go into open leg rocker. Get rid of the ball if you have it. Your legs are gonna lift to at least the tabletop, but if you can, extend them up to straight. Your knees are about as wide as your shoulders. You're gonna roll back to the shoulders, come all the way up and balance. Almost lost that one. Inhale as you go back, exhale up. The hard part is to make this look easy. And talk at the same time. Inhale as you go back, exhale up, keep those legs long and straight. It's everybody rocking. You can do your last one, and when you come up, you're gonna hold it, breathe, and then you can finally rest. Just do that butterfly stretch, soles of feet together, and lean into the legs. We're gonna go into our side leg series next. So if you have that ring or ball, bring it with you. I'm gonna use the ring, and you're gonna press the ring into the floor with the top arm. When you're on your side, your legs are forward slightly for an easier balance support, but if you can, draw the legs back. So you're in a straight line down the back edge of your mat, and then the lower arm is pushing into the floor, you're on your elbow. You can go all the way down, or we're gonna do the extra challenge I haven't done in a while, is your arms are like this, the hands behind your head, but you're on your side. I think Melissa's done it with us. So you can press the hand into the ring, lift the leg, pointing and flexing as you lower. Good, if you have that ball or ring, press harder into the floor. Try not to grip into your neck. Your shoulders are always shrugging down, your abs are tight and pulled in. The lower leg is the working leg. Try to keep yourself propped up under that elbow, pushing the floor away. Try not to grip into the neck. Now lift the leg at hip height and draw a small circle. Pull the belly in, and long straight line through your spine. Then you're gonna flex the foot and go in the opposite direction. Don't let that lower leg get lazy. Good, stay lifted out of that lower shoulder. Now we're gonna hold the leg at hip height and you're gonna swing the leg forward and back. Try not to move the upper body. Pulling the shoulder blades together. Keep that lower leg tight and strong. Squeezing the glutes too. When you bring that leg back behind you, think of that lower leg as your anchor, gluing you to the floor. Now bring the legs together and you're gonna go all the way down onto your side. You can keep your hand pressing into the ring or the ball. You could put that ring or ball between the ankles if you want. I'm just gonna keep my legs together with the top hand over my hip to really challenge the balance. Both legs are gonna lift and lower. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Try not to grip into your neck. Keep your head down, resting on that lower arm. Good, trying to lift those legs as high as you can. Now we're gonna lift and hold. Always take breaks if you need it, but just the top leg moves up and down, not letting the lower leg fall to the floor. Always, always burns. Feels like the fat is melting. Now hold the legs together and just the lower leg goes down and lift it back up. Lower leg is moving. Keep that top leg strong and steady. Hollow out the abdomen, shoulders still slide down. Do your last one, and then you can finally rest. We're gonna go over to the other side, so bring your ring or ball with you if you used it on that side. Your legs are forward slightly at an angle. For easier, draw them back so it challenges your balance a little more. You could prop up under your elbow with the hand down, or you could put the hand behind your head make it harder. You're gonna press into the ring or ball if you have it, and point as you lift, flex as you lower. Try not to grip into your neck. Keep pushing the floor away from the elbow. Pointing on the lift, flex as you lower. Imagine you're cinching that corset tighter around your waist. Hollowing out the abdomen. Even pressing harder into the ring. Now bring the leg at hip height and draw little circles. Longer leg, reaching out of the hip. Flex the foot, draw those circles in the opposite direction. Shrugging the shoulders down. Hold the belly in deeper. Now hold the leg at hip height and then swing forward and back. Remember, you're trying not to move the upper body while trying to maintain pressure on that ring the whole time. Don't let that lower leg move. Still narrowing the waistline. Remember, every time that leg goes back behind you, you are squeezing the glute. Your last forward kick, last kick back, and then bring the legs back to center. So let's go all the way down onto the floor. You can always put that ring between the ankles if you want, the ball between the ankles. You could use a hand on the ring still, but I'm going to take hand over the hip. Both legs lift and lower. Exhale on the lift. Good, not gripping into the neck. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Reaching through the toes, you're pointing the feet. Even hollowing out the abdomen. Now lift and hold both legs up and just the top leg moves up and down. Now hold the leg steady and just move the lower leg. Bringing that lower leg up to meet the top one. Stay balanced on that lower hip. Hopefully you're still breathing too. Deep breath up high in the rib cage. Do your last one. And then you can finally rest. Now we roll onto your abdomen. When you're on your belly, you're gonna have your elbows tucked by your side for our little baby swan. Roll the shoulders down and back. Legs are straight, but as wide as your mat. You're gonna lift the rib cage up and then lower back down. Try to keep the tops of the feet flat onto the floor as you lift and lower. Draw the navel in. Shoulders are still shrugging down. You can do your last lift up and hold it. So keep yourself lifted, hovering off the floor. Reach your arms long. Hold them out there to straight. And I want you to lift the legs. Hold everything up and we're going to start swimming. You could just keep your upper body down onto the floor. You could tuck those elbows by your side if you didn't want to move the upper body. We're trying to reach longer limbs, kicking everything a little higher. Still breathing. Now hold everything still. Lift everything higher. You're going to rest all the way back down to the floor. Bring your hands underneath your forehead. You're going to bend your knees, squeeze the heels together, and then both knees are going to lift and lower. Keep pressing the heels together. Draw the navel in. Always think pulling up on the pelvic floor. Now lift and just hold it. Really press the heels together. Pull the belly in deeper. And then you can finally rest down. Lengthen those legs to straight. You get to relax them again. Draw your elbows to your side. And now we're going up for the full swan. So you start the motion using your back to lift the rib cage and then hands pushing the floor as you come up and then lower all the way back down. And again, lifting up and lower. Now using your back to get the rib cage up, pull the belly in. You have one more. When you lower back down, you can finally rest. We are going to go into a child's pose stretch and then end up on all fours. So that child's pose stretch, really think rounding your spine towards the ceiling. Now when you're ready, come up onto all fours so that your wrists are right underneath your shoulders, knees are right underneath your hips. Round your spine towards the ceiling like a Halloween cat, and then drop your rib cage down, forehead and tailbone to the ceiling. Feel the shoulder blades spread apart away from your spine. Really tuck the tailbone under, and then feel the shoulder blades pull together as you reach forward and tailbone up. Just do 3 of these. When you bring yourself back to that straight line, you're in a straight line from top of the head down to the tailbone, curl the toes under, lift the knees up. With knees hovering off the floor, this is optional, it is a lot harder. You can keep the knees down. You're gonna lift one leg up, lower down, take the other leg up, and lower down. Keep pushing the floor away, shoulders slide down out of the ears. As you swing that leg up, you're squeezing the glutes. That's good. You're keeping the hips level with the shoulders. Keep pushing the floor away. Do one more lift on each side, or at least even up your set. You can rest back down into a little child's pose stretch if you want. Now we're going to go into leg pull front where you're facing the floor. So this one we're having straight arms, straight legs. You can do this down onto your elbows. You can do the modified version too if you want to stay in your little mini plank. If you can, hold straight legs. Keep pushing the floor away. You don't want to sink chin to your chest or face to the floor. Reach back of the head to the ceiling, and then you're going to alternate the leg lift. Exhale as you lift that leg up. And it's not a super high lift because you don't want to change the position of your pelvis or the low back. You can do one more on each side. And then when you're ready, you can rest back down. We are going to go into our thigh stretch. So if you don't want to be on your knees, you can do this seated. You're going to stand tall on your knees. You can use the ring or the ball between your hands. Just going to swipe that little alert out of the way. You're going to have knees right underneath your hips. Arms are holding the ring or the ball if you want, otherwise hands by your side. You're going to hinge back from the knees. Inhale as you fall back. Exhale, pull forward. Pull the belly in. Roll the shoulders down and back. So with the feet, you can keep the toes curled under, or the tops of the feet just laying flat. Either one is fine. Now fall back and hold it. Stay in the thigh stretch and just move the arms up and down. Still activate those inner thighs. Squeeze that ring tighter. As the arms lift up, your shoulders shrug down. You can do your last one and then return forward. Now we're going to stay kneeling, but turn your face towards the long edge of your mat. Get rid of the ring or ball. And we're going to do those side kneeling kicks. So if you're sitting, you could stay sitting if you want to. But you're going to reach out your arms out to straight and extend one leg and then tip away from that leg. So both arms could be strong and straight. The lower arm obviously has to stay strong. With the top arm, you could bend. You could bring the hand to hip or behind your head. Whatever you want to do with that top arm. The lower arm is strong, pushing the floor away. Lift the top leg every time you exhale. Hold the belly in. Be aware of your neck so you're not sinking your ear to the shoulder. You got to keep that long straight line to your spine. Hold the leg as high as you can and just stay there. Try to get a little bit higher. Get another inch higher. Lift one more time and hold it up. And now you're going to swing the leg forward and back. Trying to really fight gravity. Get that leg up as high as you can. Pull the belly in deeper. Get the leg a little higher for one more forward kick. Last kick back. Center the leg. Stay here for a stretch. You drop the leg and then take that arm way overhead for a stretch. Let's go to the other side. Arms reach out and then you tip over to the other side. The lower arm is strong, pushing the floor away. You're going to lift and lower the top leg. You can do whatever you want with this top arm. You can reach it up, bring the hand behind your head. If you got your hand on your hip, feel your abdomen stay tight underneath your fingertips. Trying to lift that leg as high as you can. Pulling the belly in deeper. Lift and then hold that leg up. Try to get a little higher. And a little higher. One more lift, and then keep it up as you swing forward and back. You're trying so hard to not let that leg fall to the floor. Try not to move anything in your upper body. Keep that lower arm strong, pushing the floor away. Pull the belly in deeper. Lift the leg a little higher for your last forward kick, last kick back, and then you drop the leg and just stretch. Now we're gonna stay facing the same direction. Just come on down to seated for mermaid. So when you're in this Z sit, if this is too hard for the hips, the knees, you could always sit with legs out in front of you or cross Indian style. Your hand is on the floor and you stretch away from the feet. Remember not to grip into your neck, and then come all the way back up and stretch. Fall over, deep breath, and then pull up and stretch. Fall over and hold it. So this third one, you're gonna add a rotation. Twist back, and then come all the way back. Now stay facing the same direction. Don't swing the legs over just yet. We're gonna go into our side bends and then hopefully do the twist. So your feet are just gonna lengthen out down towards the mat. That same hand is on the floor, but reaching out closer to the top. You can do this on your elbow too if you didn't want to be on your hand. But you're gonna lift up, lengthen those legs, and then side bend stretch. If this felt too hard, you can keep this lower knee on the floor and then you fall back down. If you can, lift up, lengthen those legs and balance, and then resting down. Now you can keep going 2 more of those, but for an extra challenge, you're gonna lift up and then you're gonna rotate and try to really point those hips up towards the ceiling so you look more like a triangle. Then you go back into your side bend stretch and then we'll fall down to the floor. Did you get it? Side bend stretch. And then you're gonna rotate, twist, lifting those hips. Let's go back into the side bend stretch. And then you fall down to the floor. We're going to the other side. Remember, we get to start off with mermaid. So a nice relaxing one. Hand on the floor and then fall over and stretch. Come back up. Deep breath. Remember to keep shoulders out of the ears. Now the third one, we're going to add the twist to it. So fall over, twist, look at the floor, twist back, and then come all the way back up. Good, now we have our 4 side bends. The first 2, just the side bend, no twist. Your feet are at the bottom edge of the mat, top leg is in front, lift up and stretch. Remember, you can keep that lower knee on the floor if you need to. You can do this on your elbow. Good, if you're ready for that extra challenge, you add the twist. Lift up, rotate, reaching, go back into that side bend stretch, and then you fall down. Got 1 more. Good. Back, and then rest. Good job. All right, face towards the long edge of your, short edge of your mat. So your legs are long out in front of you, and your arms are reaching. So you can use the ball or the ring if you want. If you have it, you're squeezing it. Sit up on top of your sit bones, legs are long and straight, pull the belly in, and then upper spine flexes forward. And then you stack right back up. So this could be very, very simple if you let it be simple, but think about working as hard as possible, doing that full body scan. You're really stretching that thoracic spine, lengthening the arms, squeezing the ring, drawing the navel in as deep as possible. Always pulling up on the pelvic floor, tighten the legs. 2 more. Exhale forward. Inhale, growing tall. And you have your last one, stretching forward. Squeeze that ring tighter. And then stacking back up. Draw the legs a little closer together. They don't have to squeeze together. You can do this with hands by your side if you don't want to squeeze the ring or ball. We're doing little lifts with 1 leg. Good. Try to grow taller. Pull the belly in deeper. Try not to recline back. Go ahead and switch legs. If you have that ring or ball, squeeze it tighter. If your hands are by your side, don't use them as kickstands. Got to use your core to keep yourself sitting tall. Longer arms, longer legs. And then you can go ahead and rest. So we're going to do circles. So with this one, we're going to keep the ball or ring, fall back just halfway. So hold back here into the C curve. like you're in a lounge chair, and draw a big circle with the arms. Inhale as you start, exhale as you finish. Squeezing that ring. You're gonna go around the opposite direction. Still hollow out the abdomen, pull up on the pelvic floor. Do your last circle, and when you come back to center, come all the way up and sit tall. Go ahead and get rid of the ring of the ball. We're gonna roll back onto our back, and we're gonna do our teaser. So we're starting from the floor up. Yeah, can't forget teaser at all. So with this, you're gonna have your hands reaching up to the ceiling, arms are long, your legs are together to start, and we're just gonna alternate a straight leg lift. So head and shoulders come up at the same time, pick one leg to lift up, and then you fall all the way back down to the floor, and then switch the same thing on the other side. Pulling the belly in and lower down. Long arms reaching, still breathing. Good, one more on each side. And then your last one. Now when you're down, stay down. You can make this a little bit harder by doing tabletop legs. If you like doing the straight legs, you could just keep going with the alternating straight legs. Lift the legs to tabletop, pull the belly in. You're gonna lift up, lengthen those legs to straight, hold and breathe, and then fall all the way back down to the floor. And again, lifting up, lengthen, and then rest. You got one more. You can rest back down to tabletop. Now you can keep going with tabletop. You can keep going with the straight leg alternating lift. If you can, we're gonna do 4 of the full teasers. Let's get our team Maxine doing it. You're gonna lift up into that teaser, hold, squeeze together, and then slowly go back down to the floor. So hopefully your spine and your legs land at the same time. Lifting up on the exhale, hold at the top for a deep breath, and then lower back down. You got your last 2. Roll the shoulders down and back. Focus on those inner thighs squeezing together. Rest is your last one. You can take it or leave it. And lifting up. You always have that option. And then lower all the way back down. Now we're just gonna do a stretch. Arms reach way back overhead. And you're gonna bend your upper body to one side of the mat. Walk your ankles to that same size so you look like a banana or the crescent moon. And just stretch. And then we'll go into the same stretch on the other side. And then when you come back to center, rock yourself up to seated, because we're gonna do the twisted teaser with this little leg lift. So it's basically just a combination of the side leg series with your teaser. So if you start off in the center of your mat, scoot to your left. So we'll start with your right hip in the center of the mat, and then you're gonna recline back onto your right elbow, like you're just hanging out and relaxing. So if you're on right hip, you're on right elbow. Then you're gonna bring those legs up to tabletop. Now your easier modification is just keeping the legs bent, and then you lower the legs and lift the legs back up. So it's a shorter lever, is a little bit easier on your core, but and the hip flexors. But if you can do straight legs, you're gonna lower and lift. So the top hand, you can do whatever you want with the top hand. You could reach it up, you could reach to your feet, you could bring it behind your head and put it down. You just don't want to bring it onto the floor behind you to externally rotate you to the left. You want to stay facing kind of forward. Good. Right off of that hip bone. Focus on those inner thighs, squeezing together. Lift and hold the legs up, still breathe, and then you can rest. Now we're gonna go to the other side. So you could just tip your legs to the left hip. I'm gonna swing around. On your left hip, on left elbow, lift the rib cage up, bring the legs up. Remember, you could do the modified versions, just a bent leg, lower and lift. If you can, straight leg, lower and lift. Pull the belly in. Do whatever you want with this top arm. You could reach and come down to feel your abs stay tight and pulled in. Focus on those inner thighs every time you bring the legs to center. Lift the rib cage higher. Still breathing. Your last one, and just hold it. Still breathe. And then you can rest back down. So roll back onto your back, your knees bent. You can keep your feet at this direction, Melissa. Good. When you roll back onto your back, we're going to do can-can. This is another one where those legs have to extend and you're working the obliques. But imagine your shoulders are pinned to the floor, so you open up across the front of the chest, your arms are long, pressing into the floor, your legs are at tabletop position. Squeeze those legs together. Tip your legs to one side. So you're on one hip, the other hip is lifted. Extend both legs to straight. Bend, bring them over to the other side. Now the slower you move through this exercise, the easier it is to keep your form, but the harder your obliques have to work. Really twist, so you kind of hang out there using those obliques and then extend both legs, bend, and then going over to the other side. Now focus on your upper back. Slide the shoulder blades down, pressing the shoulders to the floor, pull the belly in deeper. Now think about your inner thighs, really squeezing those legs together. You're also pulling up on the pelvic floor, pulling the belly in. Now the next one, we're just gonna hold it. So tip to the side. You could choose to hold it with bent legs or hold with straight legs. Don't let the opposite shoulder leave the floor. Hold the belly in, point, reach longer legs. You can bend your knees, we'll go to the other side. Tip over, you can choose to stay with tabletop or hold with the straight. Keep pressing the arms into the floor, pull the belly in, bend the legs, and bring them right back to center. Rest your feet to the floor with parallel feet. Your heels are lined up with your sit bones. So go ahead and rock your pelvis back to feel the imprint. We're gonna lift the hips up off the floor and hold your hips up high. Press the arms down and then kick one leg to the ceiling, lower down, kick the other leg to the ceiling. Keep alternating the leg lift, hollow out the abdomen. Get the hips up a little bit higher. Really stretch that leg long, reaching the toes to the ceiling. After you finish this last set, both feet are going to be on the floor. Take a deep breath and then slowly roll the spine back down. Hold the hips on the floor for a deep breath. Lift the hips up again. Hold the hips up. Kick one leg to the ceiling. Keep it straight. You're going to flex the foot as you lower, point as you lift back up. Now flex and point, the foot is optional, just adds to the coordination. But really focus on trying to keep the hips up, keep the pelvis level. 2 more. And then go ahead and rest the foot to the floor. Keep the hips up, same thing on the other leg. Lower and lift. Still breathing. Press the arms in the floor, reach them longer. Draw the navel in deeper. Into your last one, rest the foot to the floor. Take a deep breath and then slowly roll the spine back down. So earlier we did cross ankle over knee. This time you're gonna do knee over knee. So your legs are crossed like a lady. If your right leg is on top, drop the legs to the left. If your left leg is on top, drop your legs to the right. And then you're gonna twist through your neck too and reach out that arm. They're really rotated. Go ahead and come back to center. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And drop the legs, twisting, looking back over the opposite arm. So breathe. And then you can come right back to center. Lengthen both legs down onto the floor. Legs are long and straight. You could just do a traditional roll up with your arms reaching to the ceiling. If you can, we're gonna do neck pull. Hands are behind your head, elbows are wide. Depending on how well I do this, we might do a couple more. So glue the legs together. You're gonna bring head and shoulders up and peel your spine up. Oh, we're gonna do more. We're gonna towel and then stack back up and then rolling back down to the floor. You could just choose and hang out, get a sip of water if you want. Elbows are wide, try to come all the way up and stretch forward. It's so hard not to let your elbows wrap around your head. Oh, good, you talked doing that. It's hard to talk. We got one more of these. This last one will just stay up, coming all the way up. I almost said it gets a little easier, doesn't it? You can come back up. And then they went back downhill again. So when you're sitting tall, you're gonna bend one leg, keep opposite leg straight. You're gonna sit tall and twist towards the bent leg. Grow taller, twisting a little further. Still breathing. Still look at the bent leg, just fold into your straight leg. When you come up, keep your legs how they are for now in this position. Bring your hand back down to the floor behind you, and now we're gonna lift up onto the knee and lift your hips to the ceiling. So it kind of mimics a side bend stretch, but it's more of a rotation facing the ceiling. You're kind of rotating up, looking up. When you go all the way down to the floor, we'll do the whole thing on the other side. So opposite leg straight, sit tall, and twist. Twist a little further if you can. And then we're going to fold into the straight leg. Still breathing. When you come up, put your hand on the floor behind you and lift the hips to the ceiling. Just stretching. And you can come back down to the floor. Let's come up onto our knees. So this is just hamstring stretch. The hip flexor stretches hamstring. You could do this standing too. So if you want, you can come all the way up. I'm going to stay low just because of the camera angle. We're going to take 1 foot forward. So you're in a lunge and walk that foot forward as far as you can and then sink into the lunge to get that deep hip flexor stretch. And of course, you could do this standing with that back leg straight, knee off the floor. Now, if you're standing, just lengthen that front leg and fold into the straight leg. If you're kneeling, you shift your hips back to fold into the straight leg. When you're ready to come up and do the same thing on the other side.